December 6th, 1959. A couple weeks before Christmas. This beautiful mansion in one of the most richest neighborhoods in Los Angeles. There's a double murder that happened in this house, and ever since then, no one has lived in it. This is the story of the Los Feliz murder house.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
On the night of December 6, 1959, a Dr. Harold Perelson came home and savagely beat his wife to death with a ball-peen hammer. And then he turned the hammer onto his daughter. She survived, ran out of the house, screaming for help, and in the meantime, in all the commotion, her two younger brothers woke up, crying, wondering what was going on, and their father, Dr. Harold Perelson, told them that they were having a nightmare and to go back to bed. And then Dr. Perelson took his own life by drinking a concoction of water, acid, and tranquilizer pills. Ever since then, this house has remained vacant. Nobody has lived in it. Over the years, somebody ended up buying it with the intention of fixing it up. But in doing so, they found that this house was going to cost a lot more money to do just that, to get it up to code, to live in it. So they gutted it. Now it's just an empty shell in there. And you can't even get on the property. You see the razor wire? Look how intense that looks. Local legend and lore here in Los Angeles was that before somebody actually bought the house and completely gutted it, all the Christmas decorations from whenever the Perelsons were living here were still up, and they remained up collecting dust. A Christmas tree, wrapped Christmas gifts, as if Christmas was just frozen in time, collecting dust. Can you imagine that? I mean, it is a very beautiful neighborhood, but just imagine Dr. Harold Perelson driving up this road right here. And right through these gates. Up to the mansion. And to this day, over 50 years since it has happened, nobody knows why Dr. Harold Perelson committed the murders and then committed suicide. A lot of different speculation, obviously having to do with money. But this is the gate. At one point it looks like there may have been a lighted street sign here. Would have said 2475 Glendower Road. But it is long gone. You can still see wires. But down here on the curb, it's pretty much rubbed off, but that's the only remnant. You see the 24 of the 2475. For over 50 years, there were signs of the Perelson family inside this house. But now all that is gone. And you know what? If you zoom in on the house, you can see it looks like some of those windows are boarded up. And right there, the tallest part of the house, you see that window? You can kind of see, yeah, you can make it out. It's a staircase. Over the years, there have been people that have broken into the house, whether for urban exploring or paranormal investigating, but not anymore. This place is pretty locked down. And it just sits like an empty tomb on the hill. I mean, just look at the wrought iron on the gate here. And the way the driveway and the steps go up to the house. We get a little closer look over here. Through the gate itself, you can see those steps. I know it's just a house on the hill with a lot of bad memories to it, but it's crazy that this kind of property, this kind of house, in this location has remained vacant for so long. If somebody were to buy this house, my understanding, it would take a whole lot of funds, a whole lot of money to get it back up to code. So that's why it still sits here, like a ghost story. It's just pretty wild to imagine, you know? It's like something straight out of a horror film. I mean, it is a horror film. And to remain vacant to this day for so long. What I always found very interesting is everybody knows the tale, the ghost stories, and the legends of the Los Feliz murder house and what happened there. Everybody goes to the house, but you have to remember that they are real people. So with the deaths, obviously they have to be buried somewhere. And that brings us to this cemetery. And that cemetery is the Home of Peace Memorial Park in East LA, where you'll find the final resting place of the mother and father, the husband and wife, the Perelsons. Not too far from the front entrance of the cemetery is where you'll find the final resting place of Dr. Harold N. Perelson. In beloved memory, Dr. Harold N. Perelson, 1909 to 1959. What I find very interesting, though, is that he's buried right next to his wife, the wife that he murdered, Lillian Perelson. It just seems a little dark and morbid, doesn't it? And there's the two graves together, husband and wife. Now, I can't imagine what it would be like to be buried next to the person that murdered you. And I'm guessing, well, Jessica and I were talking, that probably at the time of their death, they already had their plots, you know, bought and here waiting for them. But still, I don't know if I could do this. As we often do every time we visit a final resting place of somebody, I'd like to take a moment and just remember them. Moment of silence. Walking through the cemetery, Jessica spotted this giant mausoleum over here. She wanted to go check it out because, you know what, she said that it looks like it's got giant sliding glass doors.
Yeah, it looks
And
like
it does look like it. What's that?
looks like it's just been reinforced. But I wonder why, because all the deaths in here are from the early 1900s. It looks like maybe the lock has been broken. Beautiful lock, I love this. It's very lovely.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Very ornate.
But I'm thinking because it's like facing the weather, you can see how like it was starting to degrade the marble maybe. Hauntingly beautiful. I like it.
Looks like we made it to the Home of Peace Mausoleum Chapel, and I'm telling you what, this building is beyond gorgeous. With this ceiling and this chandelier, and just look at this. Talk about beautiful. I just want to peek down each of the corridors. Look at that. Now that's peaceful. I really wish that we had walls like this in our apartment.
Echo.
It's beautiful, even with the echo.
It's lovely. It's very lovely.
It's a rather small mausoleum, but what you're looking at right now is called the Corridor of Love. But we still have to see the chapel, and if we turn this way, just look at this. It is so peaceful. There's more. The corridor of memory. They all look alike. But very nice. It's a little chilling how quiet it is inside this mausoleum. I'm loving it though.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always